So in this video we are going to be making the footwear you are seeing on the screen. So we're going to be having the full tutorial, both the pattern making. So you see, place it on your leather for folding. Make sure that the whole sides have enough allowance to cover it, then you trace it out at that point. So after tracing it out, the next thing you are going to do, you do the same thing with the other side of the pair. So raise it up this way, make sure it is enough, leave enough allowance, because you know some of the leather is going to fall in between the front of the sole. You understand, it's a cup sole, so the inside is going to take a lot more leather, so you have to give enough allowance. And after that, also trace out the shape of this one. So we now have the specified measurement that we are going to use to fold the Birkenstock soles. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to fold it into two like this, so that we'll be able to locate the center. This is going to help us to separate the leather before folding each of the soles. So after locating the center, I'm trying to find out to make sure I have enough allowance on both sides. So with what I have here, there is enough allowance. So we are going to proceed to apply our gum both on the leather and also all over the Birkenstock soles. So just watch closely to see what I'm going to be doing next. So once the gum is set, make sure you have applied your gum all over the soles and partially under the backing soles. Now I'm going to separate the leather, you said. Now we're going to, first of all, make sure we get all the shapes on the cup area. So you see there's a cloth under the sole, so that the gum I applied under will not stick to the surface of my table. So that's why you have that cloth under there. So I'm going to walk around with another cloth on top. You see what I'm doing? So this is going to take your time, because you have to make sure you get all the shapes visible on the surface. So that's why you have to take your time, and with carefulness you do that. So after getting all that, you can start from the front and then come here to the back. So you're going to take it gradually, step by step. Just watch closely to see what I'm doing here. So at the back here, this is the major place that gives so much stress and problem if you rush it. So you have to just pick it pleat by pleat until you go round, and then right now it is time for you to cut off some excess leather to make the job easier. So once you've cut off the excess leather, now this is the time you have to carefully make sure you pull. Once you pull, you take it under the sole, then you pull. You're going to take it pleat by pleat as if you are lasting a shoe. So just watch my finger and the movement. So once you are done with the back, you also come to the front and use the same technique. Just watch my fingers to see what they are doing there. So you have to take it gradually, step by step, pleat by pleat. And once you have gone round, you also cut off the excess leather, and then you carefully now finish up with the folding. So after folding, you can now use your rag or any cloth, rub it around to make sure there is no place that is not lapping properly on the sole, maybe where there is air or something or bubble. So make sure. Then if by any means there is a place you found out that there is air, there is a trick you have to use. Just pick your needle and shook around, pick a needle, then shook around that place so that that air will escape. So shook it as maybe multiple times, and then after that you can now use your rag to walk around that area, and with that bubble there will disappear. So that is the trick there. So after that, this is what we have arrived at. This is one of the most challenging part of this design. So if you're able to get through this stage, the rest is going to be less easier. So right now, this is our Mako 6mm. We are going to weld the soles on top of the Mako 6mm faceless. So mark out the shapes of the soles on top of the Mako 6mm, and after that you have to use your sandpaper to run on the surface. The reason you have to do this is to make sure you have a very good bonding. So you do that front and back, and after doing that you apply gum on that outline. That's where your welt is going to sit. So after doing that, you pick your welt. This welt, I did the stitching myself, and the welt is 4mm welt made out of Nora material. So use your tape, bond the two together. So the reason why you have to bond the two together is to make the work easier and more faster. So after that, you apply your gum on the surface, and then the gums are set. Replace both insole back to that outline you drew on the Mako 6mm, and then you start your welting. Remember, the edge of your welt is going to start from the heel side. It is more protected on that side than being on the middle. That's where the welt is going to meet. Should be around the heel side. and also watch closely where you're going to start the welting from. You start from the inside, so gradually you go round. So once you have gotten to the other edge of the welt, make sure you press down the welt properly round to make sure it lapped on the marco. And once you have confirmed that, the next thing you're going to do is to remove the sole. So what I'm doing now is I'm making sure that the welt bonded properly on the marco before I remove the sole. So once I remove the sole, then I have to cut slightly after the first edge where I started from, and then bend the marco a little bit and then force it in. With that, I'm going to have a very tight and barely unnoticeable joint at that point. So after that, cut it off, tap your mallet on it, which is very important, and then proceed with the other side of the pair. So after welting, cut off the excess marco 6 mm, and the next thing we are going to do, we are going to bond this welted marco to another marco. This is marco 8 millimeters. So I want the main sole to have a little height, so that's why I'm using 8. You can use 6. So you have to run your sandpaper on the surface also to make sure it is rough for adequate bonding effect. You understand? I always say this, but I have to repeat it so that you will know the reason why you have to do it. Very important. So we're going to bond it to the marco 8 millimeters. You can use 6 depending on the height you are looking out for. So apply your gum on both surface and then bond the two together, and tap your mallet on the both, cut to separate both of them, and then cut off the excesses. So this is my main sole. This is a crepe material, foreign, got it from the market. You can use alternative. It is 4 mm I think. So I'm going to bond it, and I have done that. So right now I'm going to cut off the excess. So after that, you smooth the edges. That's you do the finishing on the soles. So I have done that. This is what we have arrived at. So later I'm going to dye that off color side so that it will rhyme with the black. So let's proceed to the next step, which is making our pattern. So you have to pay very close attention to this. Fold a cardboard paper into 2 equal parts, and then you pick your angle 90 ruler, come somewhere here, and then take a line. The reason you are going to use this ruler is to make sure it rhymes here and down here. So the line is going to give you 90 degrees from that folding. So take that line and then use your ruler to extend it down. So the next thing you do, you take a measurement from the edge of that folding down 6 inches. 6 inches measurement. That's what you're going to take, and then use that same angle 90 ruler to take another horizontal line at that 6 inches measurement. So the reason I'm using this ruler is to make sure I have 90-degree on every joint. So extend the line towards this side, extend it towards this side. So from here to here, 6 inches, 6 inches. That's what you're going to then just extend the line at that point. That's horizontally, and here we have 90 degrees. Now the next thing you are going to do, you're going to take another measurement from here down to here, 1 inch, from here to here, 1 inch, 1 inch measurement. So take that 1 inch here, and then you're going to bring down the line. So I'm still going to use the angle 90 ruler to make sure I have a 90 degree. So the next thing you're going to do, you're going to take a measurement on your last. As you see the center line, we're going to take a measurement from the center line to the further edge. We want to know where that opening on the center will stop at. So from my measurement here, we're going to use 2.5 inches. You understand? See it here, 2.5 inches is okay. So that's what we're going to take from here, the edge here, down to somewhere here, 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches measurement. So that's what we're going to take from here to here. So this is the measurement here. So right now we're going to measure from here to here, 0.7 from here. You see the line here, that 2.5 to here. That's from the second line on that same level of 2.5. Understand what I did there? So we're going to measure 0.7. That's less than 1 inch. So because, and then from here to here, 1 inch, full 1 inch. So that opening is a little more bigger on the center, then landed smaller on the side. So 1 inch at the top, then from here to here, this level here is 2.5 inches, then from here to here 0.7, then from here to here 1 inch. Hope you got that. So we're going to join the two, the 1 inch at the top and the 0.7 inch down. So right now we've gotten the opening, and then we're going to curve it on that level of 2.5 inches we measured. You understand? So curve it here. So we've gotten the opening there. So right now we'll measure from here down to this point. We measure 2.7 inches. So but before then, let's measure the width of our elastic. The elastic is giving us 2.5 inches. That's the width. So the strap here is going to be a little bit bigger, so we're going to measure from that last line to here 2.7 inches. So from there we are going to draw a line down to that horizontal line below. So I'm going to still use my angle 90 ruler to make sure I get a 90-degree connection on the folding. So after that, I'm going to use my ruler to bring down that line down to connect with the horizontal line below. So that's what I've gotten. Then take a measurement from here. You see I have a 90-degree joining down like this to this horizontal line. Then measure here to here, half inch. So this line is not supposed to be that straight, so measure half inch away from that line here. So we're going to connect it down to this point so that we'll have a very slant and more unique design. So we'll join it to this half inch. So place your ruler on top of that 2.7 inches and then join it to that half inch away from the line, and this is what you're going to have. So So then here you give it a curve it in this way, then come to the side also, curve it in. You understand? So once we put the elastic on top here, it will look as if these two are not touching under. You understand? That's why we put that curve. That is what makes this design unique. So this is what we are going to arrive at, and you're going to pin it on the center and then you cut it into shape. So after cutting it into shape, we have the pattern in shape. So we are done with the pattern. This is what you're going to have. Then place it on your last, set it properly, make sure the center is on the center of the last, and then you can now cut off some excess. So once you've cut the excess, you mark the pattern facing. So cut this part too. You see what I'm doing there? So once you've done this, then we have the actual measurement, lasting allowance, and then mark the pattern facing. And with that, we are done with the pattern. The next thing, place it on your leather and mark out the details. After marking this way, you flip it around to mark for the other side. Very important to note. So after marking it out, gum it to your landing, but here I marked on my landing and then gummed it to my leather. That's the upper, because the face of my upper is a mirror face. I cannot be able to mark on it. It is going to clean. So that was why I marked on my landing and then gummed it to my upper. Then you use your rag, walk around the surface to make sure it bonds properly, and now you can cut them into shape. So to cut the inner hole, punch a hole here, around here, then from there you can gain access and then cut off that inner opening. Very simple. You understand? So I am done cutting it into shape. We are going to proceed to the next step. So pick your filing machine, make sure you file off the edges to make sure you have a very crisp and uniform edge. If you don't have this tool, I'm sorry, maybe you should use a rough, a smooth sandpaper to run around the edges. You understand? It is very important because your scissors is going to give it some irregular shape on the edge. So but if you have the tool, it is very simple. Just make use of it, and after that, apply your polish on the edges. This is going to give it a very neat finishing, and it is going to look like a coat. So this is my elastic. It's going to land on these two edge here. You see it. It is going to rhyme with that opening. So you have to use your lighter on the edge so that it will not lose. So right now, place that first one on top of your elastic and then mark out the same size again, and then repeat the same process by using your lighter. So now you see what I did here. Place it to position, mark out where it is going to land, and that is where you're going to apply your gum. You see it. And then after applying your gum on that marked out area and also on the edge of the elastic, you install it. And after installing it, the next thing is to stitch. So the next thing, we're going to stitch around here and also here. So I've done the stitching. As you can see, you see it, double stitching. So with that, our patterns are ready. So put your last on top of your insole, pin it with 2 nails, and then you proceed with the last one. So first of all, last here and down here, and then you can proceed with the center. Sorry, I believe most of the things that are necessary, I made sure that I captured everything because I don't want this video to be too long. So that is that. So I'm using super glue for my last thing. Basically you can use gum, but super glue is more faster, but you just have to be very careful because any mistake, you're going to ruin the whole work. So you have to be very careful if you have to use a super glue to last. So this is what we have arrived at. After that, the next thing, you couple, and after coupling, you do the final finishing touches. So this is what we have arrived at. One of my customers just sent me this design. He got it from somewhere, so I decided that I'm going to make a video about it so that all of us will learn. I really made a lot of money from this, so it is a design that will give you, a lot of profit. So just try it out. It is unique, and I believe your customers too will love it. If you have any question, feel free to drop them in the comment section, and also don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon to get updates as soon as any video is dropped. Have a nice day and see you in my next video.